Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome into the 143. We are coming at you live with episode 201. Nick, how are we doing tonight?
Doing good. Coming off a Cowboys win. Not impressive at all, though, because we beat the Raiders, who are surprisingly a worse team than we are. But we had another good week of NFL football, and we're here to bring it all to you.
That we are. Cowboys get the dub tonight against an awful Raiders team. So it's just always good to see, when we beat bad teams, which is not a given anymore. So I'm going to start you off with the stat of the week tonight, brought to you by our sponsor, Andrews Logistics. The Eagles have scored a combined 26 points in their last two games, which averaged out would be 13 a game. And they are 2-0. So the Eagles defense continues to show up and play just some elite ball on the defensive side, while their offense is underwhelming as always. So just wanted to highlight that to say that they're only winning because they have an amazing defense.
Pretty interesting. Player of the week, Josh Allen, threw for 317 yards and 3 touchdowns, and then he ran for 40 yards and had 3 rushing touchdowns. So he had 6 touchdowns total on Sunday in their win over the Buccaneers, 44-32. So, had to highlight Josh Allen. Buffalo Bills have been pretty interesting to watch this season, just because kind of high on them at the beginning, and then they've been somewhat underwhelming the last few weeks. But seeing Josh Allen kind of step up a little bit, we'll see if this can be a little surge forward for them, because beating the Bucs is no easy task, because they're a good football team, even though they dropped to 6-4. Tampa Bay's still a good squad out there.
Yeah, that was a great matchup. One of the only decent matchups on Sunday.
Couldn't be on prime, though.
Yeah, it was back and forth for a long time, and then Baker fumbled the ball at the end, and just kind of the game went in the other direction for Buffalo. Just an elite game from Josh Allen. I think he did throw a couple of interceptions.
He did too, yeah.
Yeah, other than that, it was kind of rainy, and it didn't even matter. These teams were putting up points. These are two teams you want to see in the playoffs, and two teams we will most likely see in the playoffs. So, always love to see the Bills and the Bucs when they're playing, is they put on some good football, unlike some other teams. And why this was not a primetime game, I'm not sure. So this was a 12 o'clock game. Most people didn't get to watch it, but that's neither here nor there. Jags get the massive win at home over the Chargers. Just mentioning this because what is going on with the Chargers? Herbert looked awful. The Chargers offense looked terrible, and the Jags offense put up 35. I mean, it was very surprising, because the Chargers were supposed to be a lot better than the Jags this year, and the Chargers just do not know what they're doing out there.
I mean, even the week before, playing against Pittsburgh, that was still a pretty ugly game. Yeah, they won that game, but that was an ugly win. And then the offense was just, could not get anything going. Justin Herbert looked terrible. He threw for under 100 passing yards, which is pretty ridiculous. And then, Jacksonville kind of sneaking in there. Wasn't really expecting them to be good, just because we're not super high on Trevor Lawrence on this show, as we've made it very clear. And then Brian Thomas Jr., not having as great of a season as people would think, just because of how good he was in his rookie year. But huge statement victory for them, 35-6. They move on to 6-4, and I believe they have a playoff spot where they sit right now. Maybe.
Yeah.
I think they have a wild card spot. So, we might see them sneak in, depending on what they, what style of football they play these next couple of games. But it seems like they had a good little 1-2 punch with Etienne and Tootin on Sunday. So we'll see what happens with the Jags.
Carolina gets an overtime win against Atlanta. This is a game that really Carolina had no business winning, but Bryce Young comes out and throws for 448 yards and 3 touchdowns. He has the best game of his NFL career so far. Tet McMillan looks amazing. 8 catches, 2 touchdowns, 130 yards. And Penix actually goes down with a potentially season-ending injury for Atlanta. And so it looks like Kirk Cousins is going to be their quarterback for the rest of the way. Atlanta's 3-7 now, so it really doesn't matter.
Their season was over. At this
point. Yeah. But Carolina, they're 6-5. They're a lot better than everyone thought they were going to be. And with the Bucs loss, I think they're one game. Mm-hmm. They're one game back at first right now in their division, which is surprising.
That offense has kind of figured something out. I think there was a couple games last season where you were like, okay, Bryce Young could possibly be decent, and then he's looked pretty solid for the most part this year. And then Rico Dowdle redeeming his career out of nowhere.
Resurrecting.
This insane running back. And then obviously the addition of Tet McMillan via the NFL draft. So they've got some pretty decent weapons, and they're 6-5 right now, where they keep just hovering with that 500 line, but they're staying above it right now. That's a huge win for them, divisional win. And then the Bucs have kind of plateaued a little bit, where they're starting to lose some games a little bit more than what we had expected, just how they started the season. So, I mean, who knows with what they've got going for the rest of the season. They still have the Bucs twice for week 18 and week 16. So those could turn out to be some huge games for the division. They could be looking at winning the NFC South should they play the cards right.
You never know. It's the NFL. It changes every year. Another divisional game that was highly anticipated this week, Rams-Seahawks. Everyone kind of thought, I think, that this was at least going to be a little bit more of an offensive battle than it was, but it turned out to be a defensive affair, as Sam Darnold had 4 interceptions, and the Rams put up 21 points, but at least 14 of those points were because their defense put them in very nice territory with those picks. So, credit to Seattle's defense. They played great when they were going up against the Rams offense, but a lot of times, they were already backed into a corner because of the turnovers. And Seattle still had a chance to win it at the end with a field goal missed by Jake Myers, which didn't even get close. But these games, I feel like the most of the NFC West games are always pretty decent, especially between the Rams, the Niners, and the Seahawks. And this one turned out to be another great one. Sam Darnold definitely put his team in a position to. It was going to be tough to win when you got 4 interceptions. That's hard to do, but nobody's really that worried about Seattle. They're going to bounce back. Sam Darnold's had a great season. Just one of those games.
I mean, we've seen what they're about. They moved to 7-3. They've got Jackson Smith and Jigba. Kenneth Walker had a good game. I mean, we know what the Seahawks are about. We've seen them play. Yep. Obviously, it does raise some questions, because if you want to, compete for a Super Bowl, you're going to have to beat teams like the Los Angeles Rams or of that same caliber. But still think they're a good football team. They'll survive throughout the next couple weeks of the season. They'll do their thing, get into the playoffs, whatever. But we've seen Sam Darnold be great time and time again this season. Yeah. So one game is not just going to make me blow up and say he stinks. Obviously, you got some things to figure out, but I think they'll be all right.
Yeah, in another divisional game, Kansas City and Denver. Denver gets the win on a last-second field goal by Will Lutz, and actually takes the lead in the AFC overall, they are 9-2 now. They hold the tiebreaker over the Colts. And the Broncos defense just continues to shine every week, as it's not as bad, but a little bit like the Eagles situation where their defense is phenomenal and their offense seems to kind of be still figuring it out a little bit. Although Bo Nix, when it comes down to it, he's making the plays he needs to make, and their offense is way better than Philly's. But their defense is elite, and it showed against Kansas City. The Chiefs are kind of they're outside the playoff picture right now. They're 5-5. They have not been able to figure it out yet this season.
I mean, it's week 11, or we just finished week 11, and I feel like all season long it's been, the Chiefs are going to figure it out. The Chiefs are going to figure it out. Well, we're pretty much halfway through the season, a little over halfway through the regular season. And they still haven't seemed to figure it out yet.
Nope.
They got Rashee Rice back, and so it's like, okay, this offense is finally at full capacity with all their weapons, and I mean, still nothing. Travis Kelce's been having a couple breakout games like we're used to seeing,
yep.
and still nothing. They just cannot figure it out offensively. Denver, their defense looks extremely good, and I feel like it's been the last 4 weeks or so that the Denver defense has been what's winning them these games, and so that's why they've been in the position that they're in. But I mean, the Chiefs' reign of terror might possibly be over,
which would be pretty crazy.
I mean, saying they'll figure it out. Well, they're 5-5. They should have had it figured out by now. Like
the AFC West, that streak looks like it's coming to an end. I don't know. They'd have to have a pretty big bounce back, and the Broncos have a pretty big setback for the Chiefs to come out and win the division, in my opinion. But yeah,
even the Chargers, I think, would have a better shot at winning it than the Chiefs.
And they're technically second. The Chargers are second right now in the division. So, I agree. And I guess we'll see as it comes down to it. But it looks like the Chiefs' reign in the AFC West might be coming to an end. So now we got to talk about briefly. I don't even know if there's much to talk about in terms of the game, but the Sunday Night Football game, we just need to talk about who keeps putting the Eagles on primetime, because the Monday night game last week and this week's Sunday Night Football game are two of the worst football games I've ever watched the whole way through. I mean, it's just boring because the Eagles' offense stinks, and then the defense makes the other team's offense stink. And Jared Goff had no clue what he was doing last night. He was under pressure all the time, getting hit from every which way, couldn't complete a pass to save his life. Let's get the Eagles off primetime, please. I'm begging.
I feel like there was 50 batted balls at the line of scrimmage for the Eagles defense, but I mean, that was just pathetic. And then we saw the Lions go for it on fourth down like 10 times and didn't get it once, is what it felt like.
Yeah.
And I mean, the Eagles' offense, the Eagles are 8-2, but their offense is horrible. Yeah. I mean, over the last couple weeks, there's been nothing that I've seen with their offense that says, oh, that's pretty scary. I mean, they've got big names like Saquon Barkley, Devonta Smith, A.J. Brown, but, I mean, even Dallas Goedert, you can throw, that's a big name up there, but I just haven't seen it from any of them.
Even just not there.
Starting to figure out, maybe even a little bit, how to stop the tush push. We saw them call a false start, which I did not think I would see in my lifetime. It happens every time. It does happen every time. And then they got stuffed twice on the tush push, I believe. But I mean, it's crazy that you can score 16 points and win a game. And then the week before, you scored 10 points and you win a game. So, I mean, the story for the Eagles season is it's not their offense. It's their defense. Their defense
and it's not
dominates, wins games. It feels like
kind of opens it up for the offense, too. I mean, it's all the defense right now. It's not the offense whatsoever.
I mean, the Lions' opening drive, they force an interception.
Yeah.
and put them in, prime field position.
On the 10. And
Yeah.
guess what they got? Did they get a
They
touchdown?
ended up
No,
with
they
a field
didn't.
goal.
Yeah. So it's just pathetic football I'm watching every week with the Eagles. So get them off primetime, put them at the 12 o'clock games. Nobody cares anymore.
The Lions got some stuff to figure out. They moved to 6-4. Offense could not move the ball to save their life. Defensively looked great, but offensively they were horrible. Yeah. Another thing too, there's a pretty big controversial call at the very end of the game. It's 3rd and 10, I believe, is what it was, and Jalen Hurts throws the ball to A.J. Brown, and it's incomplete, not catchable. There's some hand fighting going on, but nothing that warrants PI.
Yeah.
And so, of course, since it's the Eagles, what do? They throw the flag.
Gotta throw it.
Essentially ends the game. Now, with that being said, were the Lions going down, scoring a touchdown, and tying the game? No, absolutely not. I had no faith if the Eagles punted that ball away that the Lions were going to go down and score. But the issue is just that they get handed
the win.
They just get it handed to them at the end of the game like that. I had zero faith in Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions offense. There was no way they.
But you got to let them play
in the game. But it's just to give it to them like that at the end.
It's like not even trying to hide it. Like they're not trying to hide it anymore. They're just going to hand them.
I mean, if it came out tomorrow that ref had a house in Philly, I would not be surprised one bit.
Or he bet his house on Philly.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised on that either. So, just
the Lions
we got to clean
in
that up.
Game if he got that call right. But it's like, dude, just come on. We just at least have to see them be given the chance. It's just to steal the game away like that from them at the end. It's like, come on.
Yep. Play the Cowboys next week, actually, so that'll be probably another loss for the Cowboys. But no, maybe not. Let's talk about the Cowboys. So we go in. Not much to say about this game in general, but just the Cowboys is what we do every year. We look great against bad teams, and tonight Dak looked great against a bad team. Our defense looked great against a bad team, and I'm sure everyone's overreacting again, but we got to think back to the Commanders game where we whooped the Commanders, played great on all sides, and then came out and got whooped the next game. And, we got whooped by Arizona. This team is not doing anything this year. Happy with the additions on defense for next year, but, we did what we needed to do. We beat the Raiders by a lot, and the Raiders are awful. So the fact that their offense played, had any yards kind of disappoints me just because of how bad their offense is. But the front four looked better. We were getting back to the quarterback a lot, and they didn't run the ball at all tonight. So I guess we stopped the run. But you just credit to the offense, credit to the boys for getting the job done.
Offense looks good, kind of like the story of the season. The defense looked good, but you look at who they're playing against, and it's like,
right.
I would hope they would look good.
Hope next week.
A Las Vegas Raiders team, but
the
Raiders are not a good football team. They've been getting whooped all season long. To no one's surprise, their offense was horrible once again. Did think it would kind of somewhat be, unironically, a shootout offensively because of how bad both defenses were, but Cowboys defense really stepped up. Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark, Jadeveon Clowney even getting back there a little bit.
Ezeraku was getting back there.
Defense looked solid, but you just know that it's not real. We know it's not real.
We've got Detroit, we've got Kansas City, we've got a few of these games coming up where you just know
they're going to get thrashed.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll make Jalen Hurts look good next week too.
Yeah, we're talking all this junk about the Eagles offense, but they're going to put up 35 next week because our defense is so bad. Then you've got Chiefs, Lions, Chargers, and then
it's just a gauntlet for the rest of the season.
Those are going to be high-scoring games that expose our defense. Yeah, they looked good tonight, but we know what they're actually. We know the caliber of football that they actually play.
We lost the chance to beat the bad teams early on. We didn't beat the Panthers. We didn't beat the Cardinals. We didn't beat the Bears, who I don't think are a good team. And so that went the season right there. I mean, the season's pretty much over. Even if we beat Philly, we're back to 500, but it's going to be very hard to beat the teams we've got coming up.
Yeah, and even we're just not good.
No,
Let's say
we're
we
not.
do sneak into a playoff game. Yeah, we're getting
Getting
smoked.
killed
Whoever we
week
play,
one.
don't care who it
Yeah.
is, don't care where it is. We're getting smoked.
Yep.
But the few defensive additions we've made look good. So hopefully these are long-term pieces.
And good to
And
see
then,
Overshone back as well from injury.
yes, and then offensively, at least Dak is looking decent, but hopefully he can do it when we have some decent guys on the defensive side of the ball. And
Yeah.
then George Pickens looks really good. That's a guy I think we should hold on
Yeah.
to. Javonte Williams redeeming his career in Dallas after being in Denver for a few years. So hopefully, we can get him to stick around. Offensively, not worried at all.
No.
It really comes down to the defense, which once again looked great, but no, it's not real.
Who knows?
Anyways, here's we like to end our shows in under review. Brought to you a quote from the Lou Holtz, and he said, "No one has ever drowned in sweat."
Ain't that the truth? Thank y'all for tuning in this week. We'll see you next week in another episode of Under Review.